especially built by such families.
It's a day like no other in our nation's capital as Pope Francis brings his message. Good evening, everybody. Washington, D.C. rolls out the red carpet for the pontiff today. He began his day at the White House.
But it didn't end there. The Pope's latest event is a special canonization ceremony during Mass at the Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception. Craig Boswell has more. The Pope's big day and the faithful who turned out to greet him.
Thousands cheered wildly as Pope Francis rolled through the streets of the nation's capital. Francis is known as the People's Pope, and he lived up to that today, stopping the parade several times to kiss children.
It was wonderful. It was great to see him. Yeah, and when he looked at us, it was like really nice. We just love Pope Francis. His message that he's been sending to the people, to the Catholic Church.
Later at St. Matthew's Cathedral, the Pope outlined his vision for the Church in the U.S. to bishops. He gave them specific guidance on the controversial issue of Latin immigrants. He said, perhaps it will not be easy for you to look into their soul. Perhaps you will be challenged by their diversity, but know that they also possess resources meant to be shared, so do not be afraid to welcome them. The Pope's first full day in the U.S. began at the White House, where another large crowd gathered on the South Lawn.
Good morning.
Speaking in English, Pope Francis called for protection of religious liberties and commended President Obama for his initiatives to reduce air pollution.
We are living at a critical moment of history.
The president thanked the Pope for his leadership.
Your Holiness, in your words and deeds, you set a profound moral example.
And again, that was Craig Boswell reporting. The Pope's trip will also take him to New York City and Philadelphia.
And lots of people are taking notice of how the Pope gets around. Instead of fancy wheels, the pontiff has been riding in a modest Fiat. It's a Fiat 500L. Pope Francis is known, of course, for being humble and still trying to live a simple life. He chose a car with a price tag of less than $20,000. For his ride around the National Mall, though, to greet people, the Pope traded in the Fiat for a tricked-out Jeep. He left his Mercedes-Benz Pope-mobile at the Vatican in favor of a Wrangler with a protective shield overhead. The sides are open so he can wave to the crowd and offer blessings to some people in the audience there, including babies. Our coverage of the Pope's historic visit continues. Coming up at 5:30, our national correspondent has more from Washington, D.C. And at 6 tonight, Larry Davis shows us an effort to have a local nun declared a saint. You can keep up with the latest anytime on Facebook and Twitter, of course, as well as local12.com.